Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at home. So we are here to discuss the unit number 4 in the syllabus discussion series of our NEET biology. In this we will be talking about the unit number 4, that is the plant physiology. Plant physiology. So this total unit is dedicated to the various physiological processes or the internal vital processes which occurs in the plants. So entire physiological processes will be studied in this unit number 4. So this unit number 4 consists of around 15th chapter, 5 chapters, not 15, sorry. So 5 chapters. Out of that, in this very lecture we will discuss 3 chapters, and in the next lecture we will discuss 2 chapters. Okay, because this unit is little bit vast, therefore we have bifurcated this unit into 2 lectures. So what are first 3 lectures? Actually, it is the lecture number. It is the chapter number 11. Chapter number 11 is transport in plants. What is the name of the chapter number 11, which is there in the unit number 4, plant physiology, is a transport in plant. So this is the chapter number 11. Then chapter number 12 is about the mineral nutrition. It is about the mineral nutrition. And chapter number 13 is about the photosynthesis in higher plants. You might get a light here, but this is the word higher. Okay, so photosynthesis in higher plants. So these are the 3 different chapters. It will be a very interesting unit when we start it actually, because plant physiological, which are the internal processes, okay, internal, and they are very vital or important processes, starting right from the their germination. When we sow a seed in the soil, it gets germinate. Okay, वो जो हम जब सीड बोया करते हैं जमीन में, तो उसमें से पौधा छोटा निकल के आता है, उसे सीडलिंग्स कहते हैं. ओके, सो इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द जर्मिनेशन प्रोसेस. सो राइट फ्रॉम दैट प्रोसेस up to the total vegetative growth, that is the growth of root, stem, then leaves, then after that reproductive growth starts, that is the flower, then of course the very important process, that is the fertilization, before that the pollination, fertilization, and the formation of seeds, formation of fruit, and again the seed is available for sowing. So it is actually a cycle, life cycle, but at every step in the life cycle the physiological processes play a very important role. So this unit will be very interesting and very actually from exam point of view, NEET point of view, number of questions can be asked from that this unit. So let us discuss the first chapter, that is the unit number that is the transport in plants. So what is transport in plants? You know, transport, that is moving from one place to another. Likewise in plants, so there are certain elements, substances which has to get transported from the soil to the aerial parts of the plant, because so as to get the nutrition to the plants, the transport is mandatory, transport is obligatory. So how these nutrients, how these minerals are get transported, that are discussed in this chapter. The first point is means of the transport. So obviously the soil forms the root of the plant firmly, and there are various nutrients, minerals which are available in the soil that needs to be transported. So there are certain physiological processes which are involved in the transport. For example, diffusion. Okay, diffusion is what? Diffusion, don't bother about it, just learn the words. We will have a detailed series that there we will discuss each and every topic in detail. But what is diffusion for a time being? Just remember, it is the transport of substances from either it may be in the form of solid, liquid or gas. But in this case it is a liquid, most probably liquid, from the area of their higher concentration to the area of their lower concentration. Okay, so that diffusion process, then there are different types of diffusion, like simple diffusion is there, facilitated diffusion is there, active transport is there. Okay, so these are what? These are the means of the transport. Even another process, that is the osmosis is there. If we see the definition of osmosis, bookish definition is like this: when two solutions of different concentrations are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, movement of solvent molecules takes place from low concentrated solution to high concentrated solution. Superficially saying, you may seem or you may think that it is opposite to diffusion, but it is not that case. Osmosis is a special type of a diffusion only. So that will going to be very interesting part that will be studied. Then second point is plant water relations, how the water is getting transported, what is water potential. Okay, so what is turgor pressure, what is wall pressure, what is osmotic pressure. Okay, all that things will be studied. Then long distance transport of the water, long distance transport of water, it involves certain theories are there, like cohesion, tension theory is there. How this water from the soil it gets transported up to the aerial parts of the plant, that is to against the gravity. Gravity is what? Earth is pulling each and every object towards itself. Okay, but water is getting transported from soil to the aerial part of the plant. So how this has happened, how this happens, so what is the force which is involved behind this uphill transport, that will going to be a very interesting part. That is a cohesion, tension theory or transpiration pull theory, that will discuss. Then again the word comes here, transpiration. What is transpiration? Whether transpiration is nothing but it is the evaporation of water in the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. It may be from the leaves, it may be from the stem. Okay, so most probably mostly it occurs through the leaves. Specialized structures are there in the leaves which are called as stomata. What? Stomata. So stomata are what? These are the minute pore-like structures. Pores are there, minute pore-like structures are there, that are called as stomata. Okay, through that stomata the water is get evaporated. Water is get evaporated in the form of vapors, that is called as transpiration. So it is having certain contradiction, that if why that transpiration occurs, because plant needs to conserve the water, plant needs to get the more and more water and conserve, and it should be utilized for different processes which are occurring in them. But what happens, most of the water, around 90% of the water is get evaporated from aerial parts of the plant. So whether it is a good or it is a bad, why transpiration is called as necessary evil? It is bad, but it is required. What is the science behind that? That will be a very interesting part that will be studied. Then uptake of transport of mineral nutrients. Again the same thing. How the minerals which are dissolved in the water which is present in the soil, how these mineral nutrients are transported. Obviously the process osmosis plays very important role in the uptake of transport of mineral elements. Then that we have discussed about the water along with the minerals and nutrients from the soil to the aerial part. But what about the food? Okay, because not every part of the plant synthesize food. Which part of the plant synthesize food? It is only the leaves. Okay, so these leaves, food is synthesized in the leaves only, or the green part which contains the chlorophyll pigment and chloroplast as a cell organelle. In that case only the food will get synthesized. But how this food which is synthesized in green part, particularly in the leaves, that is get transported to the other parts of the plants which are not green, because they are not green, so they cannot synthesize the food. So how this plant, how this food is get transported? So that is the concept of phloem transport. Phloem is what? Phloem is the food conducting tissue. Up till now you have seen that there are two tissues, xylem and phloem, which are complex tissues, complex permanent tissues. So xylem is a water conducting tissue and phloem is a food conducting tissue. So how this phloem transport the food from the leaves to the other part, or even you can say that from non-green part to the from the green part to the non-green part. Then that is what source and sink relationship. Then this is about transport in the plant, that is the chapter number 11. In the chapter number 12, we will be talking about mineral nutritions. Oh, okay. Mineral nutritions. Minerals are what we know that for organism to live, various compounds or substances are required: proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals. Okay, you might have heard this sentence in general. So minerals are very important for overall growth of the plants, because they are used in certain biochemicals or metabolic processes. Okay, for synthesis of certain biomolecules also they are used. So there are different minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, okay, calcium, magnesium. So these are very important, that will be dealt in this chapter number 12. So what are the different methods to study the mineral requirements? How can we predict that certain plant is devoid of a particular mineral? Why it is devoid of nitrogen, it is devoid of phosphorus? How that is going to be studied? How that is going to be identified? That methods will be studied. Then what are the different essential mineral elements are there? Obviously there are primarily two types of minerals: micro elements and macro elements, which are required in trace quantity, they are called as micro, and which are required in large quantity, they are called as macro elements. So that things will going to be studied in this point. Then how the minerals are absorbed in the plants, that is the mechanism of absorption of the different elements, that will be studied in this point. Then translocation of solutes, how the solute means what? The minerals which are dissolved in the water, that minerals are called as solutes. Okay, so how these solutes are translocated, that is they are moved from one place to the another place, that will be studied. Then soil as a reservoir of essential elements. We know that the earth crust consists of different types of many number of mineral elements. It is actually the reservoir, it is the source through which we get the mineral nutrition. So that we are going to be studied in this point, that is the soil as a reservoir of the essential elements. And last point is the metabolism of nitrogen. This is very important topic on which the questions can be asked. So nitrogen, we know that in atmosphere it is present in around 78%. Okay, but that 78% nitrogen is not at all utilized directly by the plants. In fact, the plants are unable to use the nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere in the form of N2. In the form of N2 the nitrogen is present, but this nitrogen is unable to be utilized by the plants, so it has to get converted into ammonia, nitrates or nitrites. So that conversion of this molecular nitrogen into this ammonia, nitrate, nitrates, this compound is called as nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen is very important element, mineral which is required by the plants, because to grow we require proteins, and proteins consist of amino acid consists of amine group, and amine group consists of nitrogen. Even the DNA that you studied, in DNA there are nitrogen bases, so nitrogen is required almost everywhere for the growth and proper development of the organism. So for that the nitrogen is very essential. So plant cannot directly get the nitrogen, so they get the nitrogen in the form of your nitrates or nitrites. So that will be studied. Then what are the different bacteria are there which fix the nitrogen. There is a nitrogen cycle that will be going to be studied. So this is about the chapter number 12. We will not discuss in detail, just we are getting the overview of the syllabus. So don't bother, each and every topic will be discussed. So third chapter is very important chapter, that is the photosynthesis in higher plants. Photo means what? Light. Synthesis means what? Formation. Okay. In presence of light, something is formed. That is called. Therefore, this process is called as photosynthesis. Okay. Photosynthesis. Photo means what? Light. In presence of light, something is synthesized. Something means what? Food is synthesized. Okay. So it is a very important process. I can say this is the most important processes which is responsible for the existence of life. Without photosynthesis, life cannot exist. Okay, so it is the most important process which occurs in the plant, and therefore without plants we cannot survive, as we always say. And it is because of the fact that photosynthesis occurs in plants, and it is the process which is there to provide energy to each and every organism. So this process of photosynthesis will be studied in a greater detail in this chapter, that is the chapter number 13, photosynthesis in higher plants. So what do we know? Again the basic thing, what do we know about the process of photosynthesis? We have earlier seen even in your 10th standard or 9th standard, in your school days you might have studied this process superficially. Okay, but in this we are going to study it in very detail. What are the different experiments, like a Priestley experiment? He has done the experiments on the mouse and a candle, that will be going to be discussed. Very interesting experiment that we will discuss. Then where does the photosynthesis occurs? That plant cell consists of a particular or specialized organelle which is exclusively present only in the plant cell. That organelle is called as chloroplast. Okay, so this chloroplast is the organelle where the photosynthesis takes place in the plant cell. So that we are going to study the structure of chloroplast. What are the different components of the chloroplast? What is double membrane structure? What is grana? What is stroma? Intergranal lamella means what? Which is called as freight channels. Okay, all these things will be studied in this topic. Then what are the different pigments which are involved in the photosynthesis? We know that chlorophylls, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, xanthophylls. Okay, there are certain elements which chlorophyll is very important element. Okay, rest of the accessory elements. So accessory pigments, not elements. Sorry. So what these are the different pigments which are involved, their structures, their role in the photosynthesis, that will be studied. What is light reaction? You know that basically photosynthesis consists of two reactions, light reaction and dark reaction. Light reaction consists of your cyclic photophosphorylation, non-cyclic photophosphorylation, which results in the synthesis of reducing power, or you can say simply energy. Energy is produced in the form of NADPH2 and ATP, so as to get utilized in the another reaction, that is the dark reaction. Dark reaction again it consists of C3 cycle, C4 cycle. In certain families like crassulaceae, there is a COM pathway, crassulacean acid metabolism. Okay, so this light reaction actually occurs in the entire process of photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. Out of that, this light reaction occurs in the grana of the chloroplast. Okay, so that interesting fact will be studied. What is light reaction, cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation, the detailed study of that will be done. Then what is electron transport? It is the production of ATP from the NADPH2 through the movement of the electron. Okay, ATS, it is also called as ATS, electron transport system, or it is C, electron transport chain. How this electron, which is initially at a very higher energy level, with a full of energy and going to moving in a direction loses the energy which is getting utilized for the synthesis of ATP. That things will be studied in this electron transport, where this ATP and NADPH2 use, as I told you earlier, that they are used in the dark reaction. Okay, dark reaction. This ATP and NADPH2 are used in dark reaction. C3 cycle or Kelvin cycle, C4 cycle. Don't bother about these cycles. Every cycle will be discussed in detail. Then what is C4 pathway? What is photorespiration? It is quite interesting topic. What is photorespiration? It is slightly different. That will be going to be a very interesting part. Then what are the different factors affecting the photosynthesis? So there are certain factors, light is there, concentration of CO2 is there, okay, humidity is there, certain physical factors are there which are important or which are affecting the rate of photosynthesis. Overall, entire process of photosynthesis will be studied in a much deeper level, and this chapter, rest two chapters are there that we are going to discuss in the next lecture. My request to all my dear students is that it is a total free content, and I am taking efforts to improve it day by day. And if you like this video, then please like and share it to the needy people, to the certain NEET aspirants, because dissemination of knowledge, it increases the knowledge. Okay, so you have to disseminate it among your colleague, friend circle which are in need of it. It is totally free, so don't bother about any fees or something like that. It is a total free content. And if you have any queries, you can directly mail me. Mail is given in about me section. Okay, so website is also there, so you can post there also. So this is about the 3 chapters. 2 chapters will be dealt in next lecture. Till then, thank you my dear students. Take care. Bye.